Have you seen this movie?
I have seen it, yes. It is an amazing film. People are going to be crying in there. They're going to be shouting. They're going to be wanting to dance and tear the little theater up because it's just an amazing documentary of her. And just musically, how she didn't need any help vocally. She didn't need no special auto-tune. She didn't need anything. She could stand flat-footed and just belt it out because she was a good gospel singer.
If you want the exclusive, you want the Tallboy, because he's going to bring you the exclusive.
All right, Tallboy Experience. We're here with Byron Cage. Can you talk about Amazing Grace? You're a Detroit native. She's from Detroit. What does this mean, not only for the city, but for the world?
I just think musically, people get an opportunity to see Aretha in her first love, and that's with 100% gospel music. And when she recorded this record, you had people like the Rolling Stones were there. Mick Jagger was in the audience. So many people who really just loved her and loved her voice, I think was shocked when they got to the recording and heard her go into her element, and the Spirit came in, and she wasn't necessarily singing her hits. She was singing gospel songs and hymns and all that kind of stuff. So I just think that, man, it was an incredible moment that will never be forgotten, and I'm glad they captured it.
More than anything, that this film has the ability to touch hearts. Aretha has this unique power through song to bring people together, and her music and her singing gospel, I think, is a double impact of how you can bring people together under a common feeling of hope, of love, of inspiration that I believe we need desperately right now. More than anything, we need that right now.
One of the biggest things is, as we continue to honor the legacy of Aretha Franklin, as she just passed just months ago, I want all of us to take away her authenticity. It was her authentic self and being a soul singer that she just sang from her soul no matter what. And that drew all kinds of people from all kinds of genres of music. And we'll see that in this film tonight, that we don't actually have to chase after people, but they come after us. And we just have to be able to be transparent and let the light of Christ shine in our gifts and in the things that we do. So if you don't walk away with anything, walk away with that. Be exactly who you are.
Well, I respect the legend herself, and I'm just open to any detail that wants to be revealed from the film. I've been a fan my whole life, and I'm just really excited to learn more about her life.
Camera, how you doing? What's up? Hey! So I want to see Aretha being Aretha. I mean, Aretha comes from the church, right? And these are her roots, and we as artists, we're always trying to connect to that thing, to that inspiration thing. And I think with this film, we'll see her doing that. We'll see how she was able to tap into her spirit and have that spirit open up for spirit. And I'm really looking forward to having that energy come at me. I think we've gotten into a place in music where artists forget that they can actually move people, that they can actually make a difference in people's lives. I think we've moved into the place where it's about money and sex and all of that. And when you listen to Aretha sing, especially from way back then, you will hear it, you will feel what vocalists are trying to do. This is why we do what we do. Yeah, we want to make the money. Yeah, we want to not necessarily be famous, but we want to move the people. That's what we want to move the people, and I think Aretha moves the people.
Of course, being a bishop in the Lord's church, raising a generation of young people who are into music, who are into culture, I think one of the greatest lessons that we can take away from this is that you can be Christian, you can be saved, you can be important to the church, and yet have a place of significance in culture. And so we celebrate tonight, not even just the legacy of Mother Aretha, but we celebrate the legacy of her father, who was wise enough to understand that you can still be very grounded in church and significant in culture. We celebrate that tonight. It's amazing.
I don't want us to lose the fact that those songs that Aretha was singing are songs that carried us over many, many years. And that our ancestors would sing those songs and pass those songs down to ensure that we had something to hold on to in the late nights and when things weren't going as well. So I never want us to get too caught up in the luxuries of life or the contemporary spaces that we get into, that we lose focus on what those songs really mean, which is another reason why it's so special that Aretha went back to the church. She, as James Cleveland said, she could have easily, I mean, by this time, she had 11 #1 hits in 1972. She was the Beyonce of the day. She didn't have to go into a church. She decided that's where she wanted to make this album.
And you're right, you know, if you had an opportunity to ever attend one of her concerts, one thing that she did before she closed, she took you back to church. You know, she would get on stage and I call it the happy dance. Her closing act would always be the happy dance, even when you went to visit her. We were on vacation, we were traveling around wherever. You know, she would walk through the house and just sing. You know, she would sing anything from the Vandross, but she always came back to the gospel roots and some of the songs that she would sing. So that's one of the fond memories I do have of her.
And one of the great things about the gospel of that era is that we didn't have auto tunes. There was nothing that our voice could enhance. That's all natural. And she was a straight kid. You saw Mick Jagger in the audience and some of the other rock stars that were all touched by what she did.
Well, there's a story behind that. You know, so night one, Aretha came in and, you know, really did a great job. Well, word got out fast all over the city. But it also got as far as Detroit, where Reverend C.L. Franklin decided he was going to hop out and get out to L.A. to catch this. Well, Mick Jagger, who was on the other side of town, was recording an album. Charlie Watts and him heard that Aretha was performing, and they decided, we got to get over to see what's going on because we hear how special this is. And people don't realize that he talks very clearly today about that evening. And he's done a few articles where he just says how much energy was in that room and how Aretha really just brought it to life.
But look at the number of people came back the second day. You know, you had a large showing the first day, but even some of those people came back the second day just to hear a little bit more or get the spiritual blessing, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, they felt something. Whenever she sang the song, you felt something out of it.
Absolutely. And you know this, but I want to highlight it. She also was recording an album. So, you know, I've been asked, hey, why does Aretha, when she finishes the songs, why does she kind of seem a little reserved? Well, she's holding it in. I mean, she's really maintaining her composure and her breathing. She's recording not just an album. This was to go on to be the #1 selling live gospel album of all time. So the professionalism of what it is she was doing that night was uncanny for, you know, just the setting and everything that was taking place. She maintained a level of professionalism to deliver these songs with spirit and control magnificently, while, you know, everything, and you can feel the spirit is just swirling around her.
Mm-hmm. And for that to be her highest selling CD of all time was the gospel album. It's an incredible bit. Because I think people, though they love, respect, and all that kind of stuff, when you take us back to church and you start praising God, that spirit's going to call to the spirit. I think that's why people love her, and she can still sing gospel today and bless the house because she just was an anointed vessel. And as a recording artist, there's so much that goes that's involved in getting to that type of level. And for her to be able to have legends in the room with the Claire Awards and so many others that, wow, I'm just glad they captured it. I'm glad they captured that moment and it can never happen again.
Well, it's funny too because, you know, I would never take this film to a cinematography class or a director's master class and say, hey, here's the shining example of filmmaking. This is about, you know, one of the most, you know, just odd type film scenarios you could have. So I'll give you a little backdrop again. So there's a 5-camera shot. There were no clappers. There's not one clapper ever used. And the filmmakers or the cameramen were turning the cameras on and off, on and off, on and off. So I'm giving you an idea of what the technical issue was. So there's no sync points. So you lose, so in 1972 when you finish, you have streams of film and then you just have reels of audio. But there's no way to put them together. You can't sync them up. They hired Alexander Hamilton, who was the choir director, who is a great choir director and arranger. They hired him to go into the studio and then do lip syncing to try to sync up the film and the audio. He spent 2 months. He came out with only 20 minutes. They had spent some money, and then after that, they said, "This is a record. We got 20 hours," and he was able to give us 20 minutes. There's no way we're gonna get through this. That's how they canned the film, and so it just sat there till 2007, 2008. A woman named Beverly that works for Deluxe met Alan in just what some people would say a happenstance. I call it the divine intervention. They got together, and Beverly said, "Hey, Alan Elliott, who's the other producer, I have the technology to bring the audio and video together." So she took all of the raw material, all the film, and as well as all the reels, she synced it all up, and thus started the making of what was to become a film. So just in that moment there, it just took so many things. And then again, this is years and years later for technology to get where it needed to be for us to even get to the point of having a film. So when you see it, and versus what I know, like there's moments that, you know, had to be intercutted, interwoven to give you a complete picture of what the song was. There were angles and cameras all over the place that had to be interlocked with audio so that you could get a complete picture. So it's a really dynamic, to me, almost a miracle that this actually exists as a document or a historical document of footage that people can watch. And fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, this is one of the few that we have. You know, I don't know this, but I have yet to hear about a video of when Michael Jackson recorded Thriller or when Prince recorded Purple Rain. But to have this footage of Aretha Franklin recording Amazing Grace is absolutely a historical document of this time.
Outside of all of what you just said, what is one thing you want people to take away when they see this movie when it comes out?
To remember the woman, you know, she was just an incredible singer, an incredible philanthropist. She gave to so many different organizations, but she was a humble spirit that loved God, and I want them just to see the love of Christ exude through her.
Did you like the video? That's right. Did you like it?
Think big,
Hit that like
think
button,
tall.
subscribe, and
Tall
share it.
boy.
Yeah.